Okay, today's video is going to be very brief. So I think yesterday, the Last of Us remake finally they released a trailer, right? They were talking about it on the Game Awards. So uh, they released a trailer for the Last of Us remake. It was rumored that they were doing a remake, and to be quite honest with you, the first time I heard that Naughty Dog was doing a remake of a game that has not even hit 20 years old yet. I don't know what's wrong with the AAA industry. Rockstar is not doing remake for games that deserve remakes. Instead of Naughty Dog to remake Uncharted, the very first game. Have you played those games? The dodge mechanic, everything about the game is outdated. That's why you need a remake. Now, people could argue, right? Remakes, they don't need to exist, because you're just, it's a cash grab. I would argue against that. Certain games need to be remade. For example, Rockstar always comes to mind. They have a lot of titles that deserve that remake treatment. For example, Vice City, GTA 3, San Andreas, Vice City Stories, GTA 3 Stories, and Liberty City Stories, sorry. Even Chinatown, some of those top-down games can get a new remake. Some of their OG games, all the games that started the whole GTA craze, the first top-down games that weren't very good. Now with better hardware, they can actually make those games, remake those games. They went and made a fucking remaster of a 20-plus-year-old game. But that aside, but I know why. I know why Naughty Dog is doing a remake of a game that is not even that old yet. If you play The Last of Us, the first game, it's still good. Still has good graphics, in my opinion. The graphics is not that outdated. You know what I mean? The controls is not that bad. It's not bad enough for you to make a remake. So, but I know why they did it. And I know why, instead of porting The Last of Us Part 2 to PC, rather they went through the trouble to remake a game that is barely 10 years old, remake that game, and then port that game to PC because they know that game will make more money. Sony is on a mission to port some of their games to PC. And I think the games they are porting to PC is the games that most people enjoyed. The games they know that PC players will overwhelmingly like. I don't know, maybe in the future they will decide to port The Last of Us Part 2 to PC. It's possible. But they will lose money. I'm not saying they won't make some money, but the vast majority of people hated that game. Most people are not going to play it, especially PC players. Those guys don't fuck around. So, you guys went through the trouble after all that award, after all that accolades, after all that 10 out of 10, the best game alive, the second coming, God's gift to man. After all that praises they heaped on The Last of Us Part 2, they went and remade a game that's not that old just to port that game to PC before the masterpiece, The Last of Us Part 2. It's because they lost money. It's because they know nobody likes that fucking game. I want Neil Druckmann to think about this next time he's making a game. Just try. Try and not. I know, I might sound kind of entitled, but at the end of the day, these people depend on our money for their companies to thrive. The goal is to make a fun game. The goal is to make a good game. For example, I don't like Fortnite. But even I can admit that the vast majority of people find it fun. Just make a fun game. That's your job. Imagine going to a job. Let's say, for example, you're a programmer. You go there. Instead of doing your fucking job, you're preaching to people on which candidate you are supposed to vote for, which candidates or which policies they are supposed to support, or which activist cause they are supposed to put their attention on. That's not your job. Your job is to sit in the fucking cubicle and turn out code and write code. That's your job. Your job is to do what you're supposed to do so that the company can make money. At the end of this whole thing, it's kind of funny to me that after all that, they decided to go through the trouble to make The Last of Us remake, which I would argue nobody really wanted. I was not like going, oh, we need a Last of Us remake. You could have remade Uncharted, There's so many games there's so many other games, old games. Uncharted 1, Uncharted 2. You could have remade any of those games, but you didn't. You went and remade a game that you know people are going to buy. Immediately it drops on PC, people are going to buy it. Now, will I buy it? I probably won't buy it on PS5. It's not necessary to buy that game on PS5. Maybe I'll buy it on PC if I'm being honest. But it's just funny how after all that, instead of porting The Last of Us Part 2 to PC, like Spider-Man is coming on PC, God of War just came on PC, Horizon Zero Dawn came on PC, and I'm guessing the second one is going to come on PC. You know, these newer IPs, these newer games that have better graphics and all that stuff is coming on PC. You went and did a remake just to put it on PC. So it's ridiculous at this point. And you see people sit there and go, oh, we needed The Last of Us Part 1 remake. No, you didn't. Nobody needed this game remake. The first one can still... Okay, for example, for me, whenever I see a remake, Resident Evil 2, I would say is like the pillar. Resident Evil 2, the new Resident Evil 2, I think released in 2018, is like the ultimate remake. You took a game that is outdated as shit, just outdated controls, and made it better. Better graphics, better controls, maybe add a little bit more context to certain parts of the story. That is what a remake game should be. In my opinion, this is just a fucking cash grab, especially on PS5. Ah, shit. There I go again, being negative. Well, it had to be said. Someone had to say it.